One day in May 1982, 4 Argentine fighters made their way to their target, intending to do what damage they could with the crude bombs slung beneath their wings. Their target, a pair of British warships armed with sophisticated guided missiles, should have been able to shoot them down with ease. So how had these aging aircraft penetrated the ship's defenses? The answers changed almost every navy in the Western world. Disasters don't just happen. They are the result of a sequence of events, locked together in time. The science behind what went wrong is hidden in these seismic seconds. The sound on this cassette was recorded on the HMS Broadsword, one of the 2 ships attacked by the Argentine planes.
Aircraft bearing 195, coming straight at us. Well, the commentary appears to have been hit port side. Commentary's blown up.
3 minutes and 22 seconds. 19 men dead. The second of the 2 ships, HMS Coventry, a multi-million-pound destroyer, was on her way to the bottom of the sea. To help tell the story of what happened, the commander of the Coventry, Captain David Hart Dyke, agreed to return to a similar ship, now awaiting disposal in this Royal Navy dockyard. He was the last person to leave his ship before she disappeared beneath the waves.
The captain of a ship is responsible for the welfare and the safety of his men. They look to me to get them back. I actually told them once I booked my holiday on the 4th of August, so don't worry, I said we'll be back. And they actually clung on to that. You know, it helped their morale, it gave them something to look forward to. If the captain had his holiday booked, we're okay, we're going to get back to UK by then. So they're very dependent on me, but I can tell you I was also hugely dependent on them.
One of that crew was Operations Officer Richard Lane.
I'm feeling now very hot and sweaty. I am emotional and full of memories.
The other of the 2 ships involved was the HMS Broadsword, a ship very similar to this one. Broadsword's captain was Bill Canning.
Oh, this is all very familiar. The captain's chair, still the same, and locked to the deck.
These men all have one thing in common. They have all been through the chilling, split-second experience of coming under direct attack from enemy aircraft.
It's a long time that a warship had been lost to enemy action. We're going back to World War II, I suppose.
An unusual conflict in many ways. The Falklands War was fought over a windswept archipelago some 300 miles off Argentina. Ever since 1831, when the American Navy sacked an Argentine settlement, this barren place has had a violent history. In April 1982, the Argentines invaded, and a British task force set off on an 8,000-mile journey to recapture them for the United Kingdom. By May the 25th, the war had reached a critical phase. British forces had landed on the islands, but they were vulnerable to a sustained attack from the Argentines fighting back from the air. To counter this threat, Captains Hartdyke and Canning were given the task of shooting down the enemy planes before they could bomb the troop ships near the beaches. They were stationed 25 miles away, but on the evening of the 25th of May, they themselves became the target, as Richard Lane on board the Coventry discovered.
I'm sitting here at my long-range radar display. I can see the radar contacts of the Argentine aircraft just leaving their tanker aircraft 150 miles away.
Wearing white to protect them from flash burn should they be hit, the men in Coventry's operations room had detected 4 Argentine aircraft. The planes were A4 Skyhawks, 28-year-old American jets fitted with old-fashioned free-fall bombs. Primitive by the standards of the day, the planes were nevertheless able to travel at 9 miles a minute, an asset they would need as they faced the formidable firepower of a pair of British warships. Perhaps the greatest threat to the pilots' lives came from HMS Coventry, an example of the British Navy's frontline fighting ship, the Type 42 destroyer.
The Type 42 destroyer is a sort of multi-purpose ship in a way, but primarily designed for air warfare, anti-air warfare.
Men on board a Type 42 could take out an aircraft at 40 miles using this. The Sea Dart missile. Rocket boosted, nearly 15 feet long and weighing over half a ton, it accelerates to over twice the speed of sound in just 3 seconds. Should a plane get past this, it would face another challenge, mounted on the other ship, the HMS Broadsword, a missile system so new that it was still being tested, and it was called Seawolf. Seawolf is an anti-missile missile designed to defend a ship automatically from supersonic submarine-launched rockets, as favored by the Russian Navy. So accurate that it can shoot down shells fired from the guns of another ship, incoming aircraft should not prove much of a problem. But with a maximum range of just over 2.5 miles, Seawolf can never be anything other than a last-minute defensive weapon.
The purpose of using the 2 ships together was to combine the best elements of both the Sea Dart weapon system and the Seawolf weapon system. 2 ships as one fighting unit.
Constantly maneuvering to keep close together, the pair presented a difficult target. The Argentines' only hope of success was to sneak up on the ships unobserved, and the Falklands' rugged and fractured coastline was the ideal place to play hide-and-seek. Deep inside HMS Coventry, Richard Lane was trying to keep an eye on their progress.
Track the aircraft as they're in descent towards the island, and then they started to run up the coast of the island about 300 feet, by which time my radars can't see them.
Radar is perhaps the most significant single invention in modern warfare. It is what makes guided missile systems like the Sea Dart possible. Radar works by sending a pulse of radio waves out from an aerial mounted on the ship. The pulse travels outwards at the speed of light, and should it hit something, part of the energy is reflected back. By measuring the time taken between sending the signal and receiving the echo, the distance of the target can be found. But if the planes fly behind land, the radar cannot see them, and this was the first chink in the British ship's armour.
My ship found it difficult in the Falklands campaign, operating close to land, with not a lot of space in terms of the water, and very short notice, so aircraft would literally jump at me off the land and give me just a few seconds to try and find them and engage them.
Travelling at over 500 miles an hour, the planes neared their goal. To ensure they presented the hardest target, they had decided to attack from 2 different angles, and the formation split into pairs. The first attack breaking cover by approaching from the top of a mountain 16 miles away. They would take just 80 seconds to cover the final 12 miles over water. There was very little time to shoot them down.
Alarm aircraft 220, let go! Focus in,